We've been waiting for you all summer, and we're so glad you're finally here.
Everybody knows that shit. I can be your Lindsay Lohan, I can be Madonna, I can be your Marilyn Monroe, I can be Rihanna. So call me Courtney Love, I'm your extra dose of drama.
Like, it's not the vibe.
Hey there, my Jaded Nation. So, I won't get to everything, so if you want to find more information about my OCs, my toy house is in the link below in the description, which you can find out a lot about my OCs, other than, like, the big 5, I guess. So, yeah, just want to put that out there. So, what is my universe, and where is it? My universe is in the year 2009, where demons and angels exist. Heaven and hell are working like it usually does until God decides to call up her 7 heavenly virtues to assassinate all demonic sources, aka the 7 deadly sins. The angels are sent to Earth and have to find a way to conceal their identities so the general public doesn't freak out, but successfully assassinate, I can't speak, all the 7 deadly sins, or God would be mad. However, these angels are flawed and dumb, and they don't know what they're doing. And they have tons of mistakes and enemies. So completing this task would be really hard. This story's aesthetics go really hard on cybercore for Trigger Arrow, am I saying it right? Y2K emo and scene. I also want to mention that the original concept behind this, when I was
Bad walk through, bad bitches walk through. Spit your last on me, like who you came to talk to. This that bad walk through, bad bitches walk through.
I created the story. Was it the same as now? No. But the structure is still there. I watched a lot of DC and Marvel as a kid. However, I hated all the main characters except like 1 or 2. And, I mean, I specifically, like, watch a lot of Batman, or his sidekick, and I would only watch an episode if it had Harley Quinn in it. I did not care for Batman, I did not care for Robin, I just only cared for the mad woman Harley herself. She rocked, and she was crazy, and she was all kinds of badassery. And so was Poison Ivy. But what was just such a shame is that they don't get a lot of screen time, and Harley was basically an accessory to the Joker. Now, I'm gonna hear, well, that's why Powerpuff Girls was made, and so many other girl action things, but they weren't as badass as the adventures that Batman went on. It's usually like, how can we help our neighbor get their cat out of the tree? I wanted to have the same flaws that went on. Guys, I have been obsessed with this story for 6 years straight. I've been having Heavenix help Brainrot, and it's my own story. Even though my story has changed a lot, my characters are still as flawed as Harley is. Still female-led with the male and not 2 non-binary characters on the side, and they go on cool missions as Batman does, I guess. I don't know. Okay, cool. Glad we can talk about the synopsis and the concept behind it. Who are the main characters? Abby, Dakota, Fionn, and Frankie are the main characters, with Molly as the antagonist and Byakuya as Abby's love interest. And maybe I would consider Yumi as one of the main characters, but Yumi's like, I don't know. We'll talk about Yumi later, okay? Abby is the main character, so to speak, so let's talk about her. Abby is the smartest and the most emotionally mature of the 4. She passed with all A's in the angel school. Yeah, I know, very creative. And had always been a bookworm. She's very intelligent and had brought even the smartest angels down to her intelligence, which God loved and praised her for. Abby is very career-orientated and wanted to be one of God's most hopeful and loved archangel. Despite Abby being really special among her peers, Abby has a sharp tongue and is very confident. She believes in her skills, not just in books and in school, but also in combat, and is willing to prove anyone wrong who tries to argue with her. Basically, Abby's the type of person to make you feel stupid because she used big words. Abby speaks her truth even if others disapprove of it. But that's not just one side of Abby. Abby has another one. One side is a little more embarrassing. Since this is when the internet started getting more popular and accessible, and this is when millennials were basically everyone on the internet, and since Abby is a millennial and a 19-year-old girl, she has a fascination with vampires, a fascination she had since she was 14. Abby knew that demons are bad and vampires are like an extension to that, but Abby can't just not be attracted to bad, you know? I guess you could say Abby has a thing for some forbidden love. Haha, so funny. Forbidden, haha, that's so funny, Jaden. I guess you could say that Abby has a fictional boyfriend named Edward Scullin. Yes, I'm not making this up. This is a part of her character, okay? She loves soaking up all the new content, Tiffany Byers' hit series Midnight, and making many self-insert fanfictions she writes in her notebook of Edward choosing her self-insert over Stella. Of course, her obsession is a guilty pleasure, and Abby hides all of her pirated books she has read, but also reading all these books and not really talking to a lot of guys growing up, she doesn't understand how to communicate with men. Yep, Abby is a femcel. Okay, that's a half joke. A lot of the male angels in heaven are like Abby's brothers and only sees them as that. Plus, a vast majority of angels are Aries, so even if Abby falls in love with them, big chance they won't feel the same way. So when Abby jumps into this whole new world and realizes how coddled she was from God's realm, her getaway to find a boyfriend was getting more and more hard, since she has a hard time talking to guys. So when she fell in love with Byakuya at first sight, it was hard for her to understand what she was feeling and how to feel it and how to deal with it. So she had to adapt like human ways of how they usually get crushes on guys. Okay, that's the stop to it. I also want to mention that all these sides are genuine. Abby isn't pretending to be smart or confident. She really is smart and confident, but she also has these guilty pleasures. Even the most confident people have some skeletons in their closet. Okay, now we have talked about her lore and her personality. I'm going to talk about her powers and weapons. Her weapon is a gun, and there isn't really much limit to it. Abby has different forms. She has an angelic casual form, her angelic flight form, her humanoid form, and her half human, half angel form. God, those are so many forms. She can transform into these forms whenever she wants, but in heaven, she can only be in her angelic casual form and her angelic flight form if she is studying combat. But in Earth, she has to be her humanoid form at all costs. Abby doesn't need to sleep, eat, or drink as she is an angel, and they don't need it, but there's nothing stopping her. By the way, that rule applies to like all angels. Abby's angel form is robotic and her form acts like a robot. I think that's all I have to say for that. Here's some general info. Abby is 19 and she is Aries straight. Her best friend is Dakota. They have been best friends since the start and they are platonic soulmates. They are also polar opposites. Abby is half Mexican and half Italian. She's basically a replica of her dad, Cassiel, but basically the female version of that. I can explain that in like a whole another video. I also want to say that her dad is basically her only parent, kind of like, I don't know, how like lizards can like asexually reproduce, and then their lizards, like their their like offsprings are basically like a replica of them. It's like kind of like that. I'll explain that later in a different video. Okay, let's talk about Abby's fashion and her outfits. Once Abby got into the real world, she fell in love with Pink and Juicy Couture and all of what was considered preppy at the time. Abby liked them as she feels like it gave her a confidence boost and she feels pretty in it, which isn't really a feeling that Abby really felt in heaven, but like her obsession with Midnight, she feels really weird about it as it feels immodest. God taught the female angels at a young age that modest clothes was the right way to go. Being immodest was associated with the sin and lust and demons, so Abby felt iffy about it, but she started to not care when she started to break more and more rules when she was out on Earth. So Abby's fashion statements were her defiance of God's word. Women had to be submissive and not defiant, but Abby didn't think like other girls. Now, you're thinking, why is Abby acting more and more defiant to God? Well, Abby realizes while she's on Earth, God's word doesn't apply well to everything, and she doesn't want any more brownie points from him. Or her. Sorry. I don't know why I keep on referring to God as he, him, even though my God is she, her. Literally, my God is my God in my story is a woman. I don't know why I keep on calling her a guy. My bad. Abby, like everyone else, just comes to a conclusion in the end that God just sucks, but more to that later. I feel like Abby's message I want to convey is that stereotypical bimbos can be smart and kick ass and be empowered. Basically, what Al Woods is saying in Legally Blonde, and that smart women don't have to dress modestly in quotations to be respected by people. Abby can be one thing and another because entities are so complex. Abby doesn't need to be one or the other. Abby can still be smart, a great friend, and beautiful. I also feel like she's a part of me. Well, all of my characters resemble something in me. Abby speaks her word and is honest, and in a way that is Christ-like, to tell the truth how it is, even if it could be get her hated or get me hated. Abby knew that her fashion statements could get her hated by God and strangers, but she was being truthful to herself and others by well expressing herself. She isn't afraid to speak her mind, and that is a good value. Also, all of my characters that are 7 heavenly virtues always do express a 7 deadly sin, and Abby is, well, lust. Now, what I mean by lust, I don't mean it in how people would think of it as. I mean, like, the very, very petty meaning, like wearing revealing clothing, and her 7 heavenly virtue is humility. That's, like, what she represents. I wanted to bring this up as why I put all these experiences into this character, as I lived in a very religious area. I was told that you should save your virginity and did the deed after getting married, and premarital sex is a big no-no. I was also told that doing the deed should be for reproduction purposes, not for it gives you those endorphins and it makes you and your partner happy. And you must have done the deed once in your life before you die, as that is why you were created. If you believe that, that is cool, but I don't necessarily agree with it, as I believe people should do whatever they want regarding their sex life. If someone abstains from sex for their whole life, that's chill. I think their reason should be respected as the person who is sexually active. As long as you're safe and making good decisions for you and your partner or partners, then I think it's fine. That's the message I want to convey also with Abby. It gets really annoying when people like to make all these stories about my character when they don't know her like I do and say that her whole character is just, well, built upon sex appeal. Or some people get really, really petty and just crap on her because she's chubby. I don't like when people dumb on her to, haha, dumb bimbo, because it painfully isn't her, whether they mean it in a negative or a weird kind of light. And some people feel the need to tell me that Abby is too much when there are real girls/women like her. And to be honest, the people who complain about her body are mostly men. And I feel like they don't understand that women's bodies can be different and complex. It's like humans are different, even like people in the same sex and gender. Abby is smart and has all of these great qualities about her. I think her lines are funny and she kicks tons of ass. I wish people could see her in the endearing way I see her, but she just got turned into one of my controversial characters, and I don't really care because I'm not going to censor my passion project for you. What? If you ever want to see more information about my characters, you can look them up on my toy house, linked in the description. I have all the information in there if you want something short and sweet, but this video is just kind of be more of a deep dive. I know I said that I was gonna go and talk about my OC Dakota, but that would add like 8 more minutes to this video, and I don't want to do more talking because my throat hurts and I know I'm gonna keep on stuttering, and I know that you probably will not understand me, so I'm just gonna leave it for next month when I do my lore dump. So that's it.
I have to go.